Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over one of those old forgotten primes, still really good though. It's the secondary, the Akbolto Prime. But before we go over it, let's go over our first and top commenter board, which was the same person. It's Hyperion Rex. And we have our recent channel supporters here of Whoopty Wham, Nice Bear, and Colonel 06. Thank you so much for your support. Unique and interesting things about the Akbolto Prime is that it's one of these bolt weapons where when you kill an enemy, that enemy goes flying backwards and does damage to any enemies it hits along the way. There's also 3 different versions of the Akbolto. There's the normal Akbolto, the Akbolto Prime, and the Telos Akbolto. But the Akbolto Prime is the only one of those 3 that actually has really good crit chance and crit damage. It does have less status chance than the others, and it also does have less base damage than the others. But the increase to crit chance and crit damage makes up for that in overall DPS. All right, let's go over the mods. If you notice, this is a pretty standard build for a low alpha damage secondary weapon, so there's nothing really special about the Akbolto Prime build. It gets built out like a lot of other low alpha damage secondaries. So we'll start with Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Crosshairs for critical chance, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Merciless Gunfight for critical damage and punch through, Creeping Bullseye for critical chance, Prime Target Cracker for critical damage, and in the next 2 slots we're going to be making Viral, so that's going to be the 60/60 Toxic and the 60/60 Cold mod to make Viral. And if you have an external way to make Viral, like maybe you're using a Subsume or maybe you're using a pet that gives you Viral, then instead make Corrosive here, which would be the 60/60 Toxin and the 60/60 Electric mod in that case. In the Exilis slot, so there's currently a bug in Warframe where weapons don't have any recoil right now. DE said they're not going to fix it until the next update. And so I can't confirm right now if Deadhead removes your recoil completely. If that's the case, then you wouldn't need Prime Steady Hands or Steady Hands, and you can honestly just go with any Exilis at that point. There's not really any other great ones, maybe Lethal Momentum, but you don't really need that either. So that's really up to you. When that update hits and when recoil finally comes back to the game, you could always test this out yourself. You just take off Prime Steady Hands, you see if this completely removes your recoil, and if it doesn't, then you could put Prime Steady Hands or Steady Hands back on your Exilis slot. In the Arcane slot, we're going to be going for Secondary Deadhead. This is 360% flat damage, 30% headshot multiplier, and minus 50% weapon recoil. This is how you build out the secondary, the Akbolto Prime. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing for future content. So now we'll have a 5-minute gameplay portion showcasing the weapon, and when that's done, we'll come back to the Orbiter and we'll go over its final score and ranking. So I'll see you guys again after the gameplay. All right, we're about to start this gameplay portion up here. Let's go ahead and click this terminal. Should be this door here, yep. We'll showcase the Akbolto, see how it does. Try not to have horrible aim like I've already started with. I also just wanted to mention that I'm going to be going pretty balls deep into a new game called Dune Awakening. I'm still going to be doing Warframe content every day. But off screen, off camera, I'm going to be doing Dune Awakening a lot. I might also do some Dune videos as well. It's coming out today for like the early head start people, and then it's coming out in 5 days for the normal edition. It's a game that's similar to Rust, Ark, Conan Exiles, so it's kind of like that survival, base building, PvP type of a game. Now, it does have pretty interesting systems where if you don't like PvP, you can still be very helpful to people that do PvP by staying in your PvE area and, you know, helping to build things and craft things for the people that do go out to PvP. Because the game is kind of going to separate PvE and PvP areas. So, you know, if you like base building, you're not going to feel like your base is going to get raided, you know, while you're asleep at night like it does in a lot of those other games. But if you're a PvP person, you know, you still have access to a crap load of PvP. You just have to go to PvP areas for it. So I think it's going to be really interesting, and I'm very excited for it. I'll have the... And because it's that style of a game, of course, there's going to be a bunch of different servers. Like, each server can hold a certain amount of people. I think it's 40 dudes. And then there is, like, one mega server that has a bunch of little servers in it. That'll hold, I think, 1,000 dudes, or it holds... Yeah, I think it's like 1,000 dudes, maybe. You could always look this information up yourself, too, because I'm just kind of rambling as I'm doing the gameplay here. I could be getting some of this information wrong. But if you're interested, though... What the hell was that? Some kind of blast proc happened? Or maybe it was like an explosive barrel. If you're interested in it, though, and interested in joining us, I'll have a YouTube comment that I'll put out today when we know for sure what server we're going to be on. And that way you can join the server that we're on. We're going to be picking an East Coast, US East Coast server, just so you know. That way it allows for Europeans to also play with us without like having too bad of a connection. I do also want to mention, though, that we are going to be going pretty, like, hardcore into, like, the speed running of it today. So if you do want to join us today, that's cool, but we might not be super chatty or, like, socially active, because we're going to be, like, basically speed running to the area that we want to go to. So until we get to that area, we're going to be pretty, like, locked in. So, but you could always join the server. You could, you know, just play it normally, enjoy your time in Dune Awakening, and then whenever you feel like it, join up with us. You don't have to feel like you need to speed run it with us. All right, let's continue on with this Akbolto. Enough about Dune Awakening. Let me hit some of these life supports. I'm getting kind of low here. 204. It's not great. I'm also a bad multitasker, so I'm not. My kill per minute suffers when I start running my mouth. Well, I do the 10-minute runs off camera. Because they would be horrible if I was talking through them. This is a good hallway right here. We have the Acolyte coming. This is like the perfect hallway for some nice punch-through action. Got my weapon stolen, as is tradition, right as the Acolyte comes. We have Mania, which is the absolute worst Acolyte. I am going to have to melee him down, unfortunately. I'm not dealing with Mania today, I'm sorry. He's ruined so many. This is like my 7th take this morning because of this dude. I keep getting Mania over and over. All right, we will show this how this does against Thraxes, though. Mania just has the Zephyr buff, so he doesn't even allow you to shoot him until the buff is gone and done with, which you can't really tell. So it's just really friggin' annoying. Don't miss all your shots, Salt. All right. Get our Deadhead back up to orange and reds. There we go. Let's get this Thrax dealt with here. He's, of course, turned around in the wrong direction with his head facing away from me. Very nice, very nice. I've had the worst luck in runs this morning. Again, this is like my 7th friggin' take on this. Alrighty. So that is 6 minutes in. Well, 5 minutes, and then we dealt with the Thraxes for basically an entire minute. 244. That's not a good amount of kills there, but maybe the 10-minute numbers will be a bit better. So, all right, back to the Orbiter. Welcome back to the Orbiter, guys. So let's go over how the Akbolto Prime did in its 3 10-minute runs on Steel Path Lewis Circulus. It got 550, 591, and 502 kills, putting it in the B tier for kill per minute potential. And that'll put it in the low B tier, so maybe like B- if we wanted to be more specific. For single target, it's not great, but it's also not that bad. So probably right in the center again at B tier for single target. And if I wanted to be more specific, again, I would probably say B minus. And for ease of use, it's not that hard to use, but you do need to get headshots with it to stack your scope stacks or whatever the secondary equivalent of scope is. I can never remember the name of it, crosshairs, I believe. So, you know, it requires a little bit of skill, but it's also not that hard to use at the same time. I think B tier for ease of use. So B across the board. If we wanted to be specific, it would be B minus, and then B for ease of use. So that's my take on it. Tell me what you guys think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.